ain't going back. Not gonna buy into all that. Hey, hey, ain't gonna hide. Gonna let all the fears slide. Got Mother Nature is on my side. Got all of the loving growing inside.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Cambell and I chatting. Today, we're going to discuss the shape of destiny. So Cambell from Autodidactic, Lorenzo here from the New Now. We're working on our new Tartarian times. We're also considering going beyond the self. And we figure one of the best ways to decide how to go beyond what may be holding you back in life, what may be a new destination you would be looking for, would be your destiny. Everyone knows what destiny means, but we're going to discuss the shape of destiny as in not being a victim to circumstance, but how to shape your own future now. Hey, Cambell.
Hey, Lorenzo, how you doing? Yes, shape of destiny. Two interesting words. I was just thinking shape is like the word plant, right? You can plant a plant and you can also shape a shape. You know, you can shape something into shape. If you're like a wood turner, you shape wood into the shape of a leg, right? You can shape a shape. So it's an interesting word. It's one of these toroid words, right? And I think most words probably are. But they mean both things, and it's all to do with our perspective, right? We give it the perspective, we give it the charge, right? The positive or the negative. Are we going to look at this as I get to shape, I get to determine the shape of my life, of who I'm going to end up being, or has society given me a shape that I need to fit into? You know, this is the difference. So they're two opposing ideas, but of course we're always told they're just one. So everything that's one we're told is separate, and separate we're told is one. It's very confusing.
Well, it's interesting that I'm looking at a definition here from shape as a transitive verb, and one I didn't know says obsolete, to ordain or decree, which is really interesting. So I did know, like, to adapt, I've understood, to shape a policy, to devise, to plan, to form and create. These are all ones that are probably common to everybody, but some of the less common meaning, what is obsolete, right? Or which is ordained, like a king ordains or a queen decrees. So, to shape your destiny is to not be a victim to circumstance, but to pick up the power that we all have to decide what our future, like, there is no future. We know that there is no past. So if a destiny is coming, the destiny is already here in your now, which is very interesting. And you take yourself out of time, which is something we can discuss another time, so to speak, as well. Yeah. And then, so you're sitting here and you're shaping your destiny, which is very interesting because I've studied Japanese, and henshin is transformation, and henkai is to shape, to change shape. So they're very similar words, right? So transformation, like a butterfly, to shape your specific mold, to shape what you're doing, to shape where you're going. I mean, we can talk about how to do that, but it's really interesting, just as you said, to pick up the word shape and to see the huge meanings that something so small can have for our lives.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, we do shape ourselves, right? We sort of go along and we're like, oh, I don't like that little bit, I'll just knock that off. Oh, I like that, I'll just pick that up and add it on. And it's a statue, isn't it? You're shaping a statue. Hang on, don't like that there. I want to get it better. How do I get it perfect? And you just keep shaping and shaping yourself, right? So that's another way we can, we're the work of art, right? We're the statue, and we're constantly shaping ourselves. And that's literally looking at ourselves and, do I want this bit here? Or like, do I want to knock that off? Do I want to add a bit here? And so, I mean, we can look at it that way, as well as literally everything we do is because, I mean, that's another meaning of the word, right? Like our perspective gets shaped, as we go through, right? Things get added and taken away, and we shape our perspective, kind of thing. And yeah, so it's, I just thought it meant a triangle, man. What have you done to my head?
Yeah. Well, then you modify your behavior as well. We'll add another dimension, right? With, like, you shape your behavior, you shape how you see things, you shape where you're going. So, as Cambell said, if you modify your perspective, which is the most important thing. So for those of us, including myself, that have been confused here when we're autodidactic, teaching yourself the new now, a new way to be, we have our Patreon page, New Tartarian Times, which is really just about a new way to make community. And then we're going to tie all of this into beyond the self, which is to go beyond your perspective, let's say, beyond your shape, beyond what you have, beyond your habits, right? Beyond what you've decided is possible for you, for new possibilities. Even Cambell and I have, 50 videos of Odyssey of Truth, which we've kind of put in our past right now, which was just our journey to our truth before we realized our truth is whatever we say it is. So we left that journey behind to go to our new ways to be alive. So, we're tying all this in together. Cambell and I have talked about new products, new ways to build. We have our Freedom's Calling You series, which, him and I are still working on together. And we're working with people that want to work with us one-on-one as well, as they show up. We're going to start our live streams up again. We've discussed that very soon, as is possible for all of us. And so we're trying to, and as we're succeeding in shaping all of this, it's like Cambell and I don't want to say, and I'll talk for myself, that we have gotten anywhere in advance of anyone else. Like him and I are even a work in progress. We said, well, this will work. And then we jump to something else. And then we've jumped to something else. And we're adding products and we're adding people and we're adding ideas. And we're literally together as artists making shapes for this destiny of ours, which seems to be changing even every time we talk every week or so, Cambell and I. So, we're showing through our own efforts that your transformation, your shape is certainly built on your perspective and how you shape that.
And it's very malleable, we're told, right? And again, this is in the language, right? We have to fit a certain mold, right? They want us to live inside the box, not outside the box. And of course, we're supposed to break the mold, right? Make a different shape. Because our parents and more in the older generations love to shape your career. They love to shape your these are the words, literally. So this is the thing: is what kind of, are you going to let other people shape your life, or are you going to do it? Like if other people are saying, "Hang on, no, you're really supposed to be in that triangle over there," are you going to say, "Well, actually, I like this star shape, and I'm staying here"? Like this is the thing, because just in that decision is you're shaping yourself. Like that's literally shaping. Like you're deciding, no, this is what I'm going to do, and that shapes your personality and shapes your perspective. And next time you don't even look at that question, right? Because you're the star and they're the square. They want to be a square, right? So yeah, what are you shaping? This is the thing. Are you letting other people shape who you are, and are you heading towards a shape? Are you trying to be a triangle because everyone said you should be a triangle, or you'd make a great triangle, you're so good at being a triangle, but you really want to be a square or a circle? Like are you letting other people shape your shape? And then we get back to this toroid word, right?
I mean, and what does it all mean? Like if everyone wants to consider what is a shape, like we've talked about the cymatics. Cambell's done a lot of videos on that. I've seen a lot of energetic patterns that have been put on, the flower of life, etc. So what does that mean, and how do you shape yourself, right? Like, do you just shape a cake? Do you shape your house? Do you shape your shoes, or can you shape yourself, right? Can you change your shape? Can you change by changing your perspective? And I have done some studies, inner studies, I'll say, even over the last week, because I've watched all these energetic videos on looking at past megaliths. Cambell and I talked a bit about that before we got on, or past windows and cymatics in the cathedrals, etc. And like, how do you actually adjust yourself to pick up the information that's being shared from these patterns, from these energetic systems? Perhaps you have to, like a plug, right? Like you got to adapt to plug into an energetic system. Maybe you have to shape yourself to fit into these new ways of seeing energy so that you can pick up the patterns of information. Maybe this is how the past crystals and the past people were sharing what they're trying to share, and why most people miss it right now is they are, because of what Cambell mentioned, being molded to being a salaryman or an accountant or whatever, or a stockbroker or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But maybe by being, that's why the schools hammer you into this shape. There's other things that are being missed by reshaping yourself towards picking up a new perspective, which would have, who knows what kind of information is coming from what's potentially possible for us as we vibrate into a new way to be alive.
And how intricate is your shape? I'm just looking at your t-shirt behind you, above your head there, with that intricate geometry in it. You can be a boring, square. Or you could be an intricate three-dimensional fractal square, right? Like you can actually, be yourself, but add on to yourself, right? Make yourself more, detailed, right? More fractal, right? More to it, more to the picture. So this is the thing. If you don't have to. If there's a few things you don't like about being a square, you don't have to go, all squares suck, I'm becoming a triangle. You can become a three-dimensional, cube, right? Add different layers, add different perspectives. So it's all about, and that's kind of, the sacred geometry, right? The flower of life. The more intricate these things get, and the more fractal-like, the more information is contained in them. And that's us. We can choose to be this persona. I'm the square, I'm the triangle, look at me. Yep, perfect triangle here. Yep. Or you can be, oh yeah, I think I'm a triangle. I don't know, let's have a look. Oh, look at that, I'm a tetrahedron. Oh, and that now I'm just a fractal of that. We can be deeper. We don't have to just be the persona, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We don't have to just be I'm a hairdresser, I'm a businessman, I'm a worker. We can be, yeah, that's something I do. That's this little part of my shape, and this is the rest of me. Which is, people tend to live into their personas. They find something that works, and they tend to put more and more effort into that. But that's really just people pleasing.
Yep.
I would keep in, another one of the sayings I like is, if you don't have opposition, you're probably not talking loud enough. You're not talking your truth loud enough, because if everyone's agreeing with you, you're saying what people want to hear, and that's not the truth.
No, I mean, imagine, let's say that in the shape, the more complicated the shape, the more points there seem to be. Like Campbell mentioned, the Fibonacci square, or the Fibonacci shape, or whatever that moves out. So you've got all these points, and I've seen it's like each point maybe touches a perspective or a new option for your life, right? So obviously, if you're a square, you only have 4 options, let's say. Or if you're a cube, then you have 16 options. If you become like the flower of life, you have an infinite number of options. And I've seen the higher you vibrate, the more potential you pick up. So let's say all of potential is just, we're living in potential. That would be my guess. So if we're living in potential and you want to think that anything is possible, you can't just think anything is possible, though. You literally have to change your shape to be able to pick up these new perspectives. Like, where does imagination come from? Where do ideas come from? Where are they born? Like how do you decide that now I want to do this, or now I'm going to do this, or I'm going to stop doing that, or I'm going to start doing this? And I would say it's more than a mental exercise, but it's a vibrational exercise. So since we're talking about shaping your destiny, if you want to change your destiny, like let's say you're an alcoholic, obviously you're going to have a low vibration, and your destiny is going to be, a hospital with, diabetes and a mushy brain eventually. But it doesn't mean that you have to go there. If you stop drinking and you become healthy, and you take all kinds of elixirs, this is just a simple way of looking at it. And then your vibration grows, probably your destiny will also change.
Yeah. I was just looking at the meaning of intricate. This is the thing that, the more, point. I mean, that's a good point, right? The more points that we have, it's the more information, the more interesting we are, the more, better to look. We all know it's much more interesting to look at. Or we could take it back to Tartaria, right? To these old buildings, and to a square brutalist building. Or it's more interesting to look at, a cube than a square. So, are you shaping yourself to become yourself, or are you going towards that mold, right? Everyone wants us to be their shape, and this is a good shape. Come and fit in. And like I said, you don't have to jump ship. Maybe you like to be whatever, right? Maybe you're a doctor and you love being a doctor, but there are doctors who are just doctors, and that's their shape, and that they can't get any more points, right? They can't get any more points across because I'm just a doctor. They can't take the information in. But you can be that, and you can just be more. You can be one of these, interesting doctors, right? You don't have to change everything, but it's all about you. What shape? Because a lot of the time when we talk about these concepts, people think, "Oh, what shape should I choose?" kind of thing. Well, that's wrong, because that's choosing someone else's shape. So this always has to come back to, what is your real shape? Like, what is it? Like, you may have been told you're, whatever, a circle your whole life, and you're a triangle, but whatever it is, again, we just need to go back and try them on, right? Maybe try on some different suits. try on, the suits of sacred geometry, and see what feels good, not what gets the best reaction, right? But what feels the best. Am I being, and that's really getting true to ourselves, right? Finding your true shape.
You have
Your
to.
true calling, whatever. Yeah. If you're not fitting, because we've all got a mold, I think. We've all got a predestined shape, right? We're born with certain things and we need to express that. And so if we're in the wrong mold, we're just being trapped.
Well, like I call it a predilection, if you like, which means what you're good at, what is you, what is essentially you. And even though I hated growing up in a cold country, I'm from Toronto, from Canada. When I used to have black gloves in the winter because that's what you had, the snow would land and it's white. And I was told and then eventually seen that every snowflake is different. Every snowflake is different. And there's literally, you can't count the bazillions and bazillions and bazillions and bazillions. So if you wish to look at reality and nature being reflected in us, every human is different, of course.
Yeah.
So every human has a different shape. So you can't reach your true happy destiny by taking anyone else's mold. It's impossible. Right. And it's not a moral standing, like don't become like them because you're you and you should be great, or don't become like them because you deserve the best, you go girl or you go boy. It's not even about that. It's just like our natural predilection is to be different from everybody. So this is why this inclusion university, this stuff that the governments are pushing right now of like everyone's the same, it's the opposite of where we should be going, because actually everyone's different. Everyone white is different from everyone else that's white. Everyone purple is different from everyone else is purple. You don't let these clowns fool you into putting on the same suit and the same, shoes and the same hairstyle as everyone else, because you can't be happy, because it can't be you, because you are an individual. And that's where our power and freedom lies. It's not in becoming the same. It's literally in living into who we are. That's why shape, obsolete being one, drop the obsolete shapes and carve, or allowed to be carved, as Campbell said, the statue, like take away the bullshit that's not you. What you as Campbell's saying is, it's like, the statue's done when you stopped taking away shit that's not there and allow the natural you to take shape by being honest. There comes a time when, Campbell and I did the Odyssey of Truth, where you have to live into whatever your truth is, because then you will take shape and that will change your destiny.
Yeah. I mean, can you see your future taking shape? I mean, this is it. So yeah, how are you shaping it? Is it your shape that you're creating? Do you, are you good with that shape? This is the main thing. I mean, you need to be able to stand up and go, yes, I like my shape. It's okay that it's different, because we're all unique. I think, what they're pushing is we're all different. And that's a different way to look at it, as we're all unique. Okay, we're all unique means we don't need to change anyone else, right? If everyone's different, it's this kind of like, you're different to me kind of attitude. At least that's what they're pushing. And look what they're pushing at the moment. You can change your shape. You can cut bits off your shape, and that'll change who you are. No, it won't. And we're starting to see the results of their little, few-year experiment here. And this is the thing. So they're trying to teach you to change your physical shape, and that will change something else, but it's not. It's the inside. How are you shaping the inside, like the true you? And are you seeing yourself as unique, like, which is just, I'm good enough. These are my good points. I have good stuff to share. I have, wealth, information that I can give, that I can share. That's all unique is. It's not to do with I'm better than you, because when you're better than someone, you kind of got to stand on them and point out why they're bad. And this is, a lot of people think that to lift yourself up, you push everyone else down, right? And they think it raises them up or something. It doesn't. It just puts a lot of shit on your shoes, is what it does. So this is the main thing, is we're all in unique shape, but you need to work out the shape, and you need to shape it. You need to get the shape of your life, right? Shape your destiny, all these kind of things. So, what is it? And just remember that for most of us, our whole lives, we've been told we're a certain shape, and we might be, but we might not be. And these are just things like, you're the sportsman, or you're the smart one, or you're the the good with people person, or you're the outgoing one, or you're the whatever, right? You're the artist. But, you know, so we get taught to focus on one point, but we're not just one point. We've got all these other points. You know, let's make this shape more intricate and like really start expressing our true shape. Like this word's getting more interesting the further we
Yeah,
get into.
I mean, what is destiny, right? Like where are you going? Like what? Like someone say, no, my destiny isn't predetermined, or no, like you're not being dragged along in a current towards, you know, an ultimate goal that's beyond your control. You know, I don't think that that's the case, but if
No.
you look at it, I would say what really is going on is who's in control of your life. Like I found, and I'm going to try and explain this in a way I think that is coherent with words, and that who's directing you, like where are you going. Like if you look at your destiny as, you know, the ultimate goal of your life or the ultimate end result of why you're here, you have to, or you get to see what that is for you. In that, why are you here? Why did you come here? What is your goal? What is your plan? And maybe if you're going somewhere you don't like right now, maybe it's not so much you're being dragged along with the currents of the time and you're a victim to this. Maybe you just haven't quite yet figured out what your destiny is, right? Maybe you're not destined, as Campbell said, to be a sports guy or a salaryman. Maybe your destiny is to be an artist. Maybe your destiny is to be a leader of people towards a new art form, or to make new music, or it doesn't really matter. But if you're going somewhere you're not happy with, you know, maybe it's time to devise a new plan, shape your policy, which is another part of shape. While we're talking about this, is to, you know, understand what your destiny is. So it's not so much that you can change your destiny, because I really don't think you can, but it's more like you can change the perspective and definition of your destiny by really understanding what even destiny means, you know, what your life means. So you kind of change it from the inside out, not the outside in. People are saying, oh, no, my destiny isn't, you know, to live here, it's to live here. Or no, my destiny isn't to be married to this person, it's to be married to that person. Oh no, my destiny is to, you know, collect as much money or sports cars. You know, but maybe your honest destiny is, I don't know, to be a bum in Tahiti, living on the beach and developing a new art form that no one's ever thought of before. You just haven't figured that out yet. You know, so you're changing your shape, you're changing your fit, you're changing your perspective. And how do you modify your destiny? Even if you're predestined, maybe the opposite is true. Maybe it's yourself that needs modification, you know, not the outside world. So if you modify your inside world or your perspective, you know, or even your consideration for what is possible or not possible in your life, you know, maybe the destiny is not really what gets altered, but you do to fit your destiny. And that could be where your happiness starts to
Mm,
develop.
yeah. I mean, if it's destiny, you don't have to worry about it, right? It's going to
Right.
happen. You don't
Yeah.
need to, you just need to like enjoy the ride and go, oh, what's going to happen? And be ready for it. And this is the thing, like so many people, you know, believe in this predestined, like, you know, again, like we're told by society, parents, all these things, peer pressure, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're destined for this. Oh, look, you can sing. You're destined to be a singer. Well, maybe they're not. Maybe the singing's just there for their enjoyment, right? And they're destined to do something else. So don't let people tell you what you're destined for,
For.
you know, because the way I see it, you know, and I used to think my belief used to be that we just create as we go along, and we just sort of are creating this life. But I don't believe that anymore. Now, after living life a bit, it looks like we do have a destiny, but as far, I see it as like there's points in our life that we have to hit. You know, so it's not, I'm not, so not 100% of it's destined. Between those points, we have free choice, and we're free to stuff up monumentally, and often we do. And then we get to the next checkpoint, and they say, "Oh, you're not the right shape. You can't fit through the door. Sorry, only triangles are allowed through this door. You're clearly still a circle." So you have to go back and repeat that level. And until you learn that lesson, you don't get through the door. This is, and literally, I see this in people's lives. But then obviously you hit destiny, you get through there, and you move forward. It's like levels in a game, right? You to get to this level 2, you've got to pass level 1. So that's kind of how I see destiny. And so this is the thing is it is up to us, right? If that's true and there's destiny there, you still have to deserve it. You still have to be the person that can live that next portion of your life. So you have to shape yourself into the kind of person that can do that, right? That can, whatever, holds the right key, can get through the door, to go forward. So like I said before, if it's destiny, you don't need to worry about it. What you need to do is be aware of your life, of what's going on, what you're doing, and what outside forces are trying to change your shape, and focus on that and be ready for anything, because whatever's going to happen is going to happen, right? Just be ready for it, because when people get hyper focused on this is what will happen, guess what happens when that doesn't happen and they get something else completely unprepared and they don't know what to do? It all falls apart.
I mean, up to us. That's a beautiful way of looking at things, right? Like even up to us. Consider that for a moment. So your destiny is up to you. Sure. We all have, free will. Sure. But how are you deciding what is up to you? How are you deciding what your destiny is? Like, people don't even look like my destiny when I was 4 of getting, the biggest piece of cake at the birthday party, isn't quite my destiny today when I want to not get fat, let's say, right? So, your destiny evolves as your intelligence evolves. Your destiny could evolve as your moral fortitude evolves. Your destiny evolves as your intelligence evolves. And, so perhaps if you're not happy with your destiny, it's not anything on the outside that needs to change. It's to decide, what, as Cambell said, it's interesting. If you can sing and they say, well, you're destined to become a singer. I found, don't forget, a lot of these people are attaching your skills to money, right? What does that mean? So if they're saying you're destined to be a singer, what do they really mean? Oh, you're destined to make a lot of money singing, or you're destined to make a lot of money, with your art, or you're destined to make a lot of money with your writing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that is why we're born, and that's where destiny comes from. Because if you study money, and money's made by the evil system of troglodytes, we don't have to get into that right now. Like, why would you want to attach your destiny or your natural skill set or your predilection to what the monsters say it's for? Selling your soul for, your shekels, or selling your soul for maybe your destiny, as Cambell said, is just to sing on an island for 4 people and to raise their vibrations so that they become the kind of beings that make a new society, right? And a new way to be alive that eventually attracts the entire cosmos to come live there, right? That's another way of looking at that. And it has nothing to do with, fiat dollars or digital dollars or gold, which you'll sink if you put it in your pocket and try and swim across a lake with anyways, right? Maybe the destiny lays beyond commerce.
Yeah. Currency, right? The current to the sea. Don't stop the flow. Basically, let it flow, because we see this happen all the time, right? People hyper focus, and then people do it to their kids, man. And kids literally lose all these opportunities because it's like, well, you're good at tennis, so all you're going to do for the next 10 years is tennis. And we're going to put money into it. So if you complain, we're going to yell at you and tell you how we've just given up our lives to make your life so much better, and all this bullshit, right? And you get these broken people at 20 going, I'm not really into tennis. I'm good at it, but, wouldn't mind playing on the weekend for fun.
For fun.
Not really into, all this other crap. And it could be the same with singing. You could just be a good singer so that you can sing to your children. You could be a good artist so that, who knows, right? So you make funny memes that, it doesn't have to be a career. You don't have to become one shape. Again, that's, you don't have to become this one shape. You're multifaceted, which is another interesting word, right? That's what they use for diamond cutting.
Right.
That's multifaceted, right? Different, or multi-pointed, all these different points, different angles, different ways to look at things, right? This is all this geometric language, right? And of course, geo is the earth. Very interesting stuff.
Interesting. Something that just dawned on me that I've never really seen yet. Cambell, have you ever done or talked with anyone that's done any Tartarian videos based on commerce and how they trade it and what their monetary system? Like I've never seen that. Like, what's interesting, like, what were these people doing? Right? It's like everyone thinks we're built on a system of consumption and buying and selling and trading and hoarding and digging up gold and savings for the bank account, digital. But something that's never been touched upon yet.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, is what, like, no one's looked at the people that lived in these societies. Okay, they were giants, sure. Okay, they had 6 eyes. Okay, they were shaped like this. Okay, they were blue with purple hair, and they had 7 sets of teeth, and and they ate snails.
Yeah,
But
what did they do all day? How did they
yeah,
live?
like, what were they doing? Did they have commerce? Were they trading? Did it matter to them? Were they just artists building these beautiful cathedrals and teaching each other to vibrate, to become as multifaceted as possible? Like, what were they doing with their time? What did they do when they woke up? What did they teach their children? These are things that no one's, in my opinion, yet, and I've watched
It's
hundreds
interesting.
have talked about it. Like, what was their system of commerce if they had one? Doesn't Maybe they didn't like, if they didn't poo, we've talked about that, right? Supposedly, or their waste system was different, and there maybe. So what did they do, Campbell? Have you looked into that?
I think we can definitely look in. Let us know. Should we look into it? Leave us a comment. What kept them busy, right? What was their busyness? That's what business is, right? What keeps you busy? Yes, and this is the thing, there's a society, and we've got all these, and we don't even know what they did, but they created all this stuff. So, it's kind of like us, right? Like, how did we get here? What did we do? Did we follow our intuition, our own shape, or did we just kind of, get told, go and jump in this mold? Oh, that doesn't fit. Go jump in this mold. I'll go, and we kind of end up here going, oh my God, now I'm just obtuse. Yeah.
Imagine your water, right? So, and water can fit any mold,
Yes.
and even if water becomes steam, it has more potential for fitting any mold, right? Or gas or whatever. When it's ice, though, it's frozen. So, yeah,
it's geometry at its base. It's
so that's its base. So maybe everyone is given these 3 or 4. Like, why is it illegal to homeschool in Japan, right? Why did they make it impossible to homeschool, or very hard to homeschool in other countries? Like, why did they have to take kids away from parents originally with guns? Nobody talks about that in the 1860s, when they said, we're taking your kids to school. And at that time, the parents said, F you, it's my job to mold my children, my future. Like, why was it, right? Why is it so important for them now to break up countries and mold and people, of a similar, to make people into one mold? Maybe you're easier to control. They can control 4 molds or 12 molds. They even want to cut off your bits to make everyone into one sexy mold or sexless mold. Whatever they're talking about. So why, right? And then to see, what are these molds that are supposedly illegal now? Like, what sort of molds did they hold in Tartaria? That's something people aren't looking at. Maybe you have to change your mold so that you can fit into the mold, so that you can even understand what is being offered by these buildings, these cathedrals, these ley lines, these, sure, ancient history is very interesting, but it's history. It's dead. If you study it to see that there's more mold potential, so to speak, than we've come across yet, then that's great. But if you get lost in the endless potential of watching different molds, like if you're a square watching a million molds go by, you're still a square at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. The whole purpose of the history research is to ultimately to say we can do it better, and to ask that question, how?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? There's your proof. It's been done better before. What are you going to do? And the answer shouldn't be, I'm going to sit here and watch another video on buildings, right? Cool, right? They're fun, and we all need downtime. But at the end of the day, like Lorenzo said, are you just a square looking at all the triangles and circles go by? Or are you sort of taking stuff on and go, oh, well, I'm a square, but with another point, I could be a pentagon, right? And pentagons look all right. So this is the thing, yeah. Everything in life has to be practical. I think especially over the last 2 years, we've armchair, experts, armchair, everyone's an expert, right? Everyone knows everything. That's great if you want to live in a box, in a square, in a shape that everyone else has, that everyone else knows, a shape that, doesn't make its points very well. If you want to, shine, get more complex, right? It's like a diamond, right? If they want them to glitter more, they put more points on it. They make it more intricate, more complex. So the same with you, instead of, if people are like, oh, you're an idiot, and I mean, it's got to be going out the back door now, but you're a conspiracy theorist. This is blah, 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 blah. Just make more points. You can
Right.
literally be the point where you can have so many points that they have no comeback because you're this big shining thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's your shape. That's just building on your shape, making it more intricate, putting more in there, becoming more of who you already are is all this is really getting back to.
And that's why, this isn't a moral thing we're talking about, or you should or shouldn't think. It's more like if you look at reality or you look at the way the world is built, if you know all snowflakes are different, then that's the end of that conversation. Right? If you know all people are different, then you'll leave them alone, as Campbell said. You don't try and change anybody. There's no reason to make someone like you because it's impossible for someone to be like you. So you just drop that. Right? It's an impossible for you to be like someone else also. So you can drop that. Right? You just sit back and explore who you are and you shape your destiny, not with the outside of shaping, but by shaping yourself. Right? If you're not healthy, you make yourself healthy. If you're not happy, you make yourself happy. Right? If you're not in a way or living the way you like, you change that. And then potential and opportunity and imagination will naturally alter because you're altering your shape, your points, your perspectives, right? Your facets, right? Don't get fascinated, which means you get stuck, in one facet, right? Imagine that you have multiple facets so you can change what you need to do on a moment to moment, day to day basis. So maybe you don't let, you're not trying to shape your destiny, but your destiny is shaping you, but you're already that shape. I mean, time is interesting because it's all here now. So you're just allowing your destiny to unfold and understanding you came here for a reason. I mean, so many people go, I hate this reality. I was born here and all the monsters are doing, and it's suffering, and it doesn't have to be suffering, and it's their fault. And so, but maybe like, how does a diamond get formed, right? High pressure, high shape, like chisel, chisel, chisel. How do shapes change? Stresses and cracks and challenges and forces of nature that shape mountains and water and winds and earthquakes, and it all sounds very violent. By lightning takes shape and whatever, ice changing cracks to different sorts of shapes. So maybe you're supposed to be challenged, right? Maybe you're supposed to welcome the assholes that are really pushing down on you and saying you've got to do this and you have to do that and you can't do this and you can't travel and you can't do this and you got to take these medical things. Maybe by not following what you don't feel is your shape, you shape yourself, through trials and tribulations and forces of nature and stresses. And then like a diamond is what is supposedly shaped under the highest pressure in the planet. I've been told anyways. I don't know if it's true. Right.
Yeah.
So, or the shit, so if you allow that to shape you, or to allow your true shape to be formed, then you stop being a victim as well. Right. You're not pointing fingers again. You're understanding that you are where you need to be. You have the challenges you asked for. If your life really, really sucks and it's really, really hard, good. Pick it up for what it's supposed to be and allow that to shape you into your next choices for that destiny that you may be crying for.
Yeah, get more facets, be more fascinating. This, get in shape, right? Get in shape. But yeah, this is, ultimately this is it is, where these fractal things, and the world just wants to put you in and tell you you're just a basic little, shape. You're not, you're a fractal. And it's all to do with the points, how intricate you want to be, or what the points you make. Are you going to let people chisel, smooth over and all these kind of stuff? And, it's all in our language. It's quite amazed at this little conversation, how much shape really is. It just, it's entwined in everything, right?
Endless.
And we shape our lives, and I think it's time that we all got in shape, but in our shape. So what is your shape? What is your mold? What container do you fit? Have you been trying on containers that don't quite fit? Because ultimately it's just, it's just you. It's like the square peg in the round hole thing. If you spend your life trying to fit into a round hole, but you're a square peg, that you're just going to have problems. So we will be shown this thing, but we also make this all as easy or as hard as we want. We can fight and say, no, I'm a banker because that's a great shape and that shape makes lots of money. And look at all the people who look at my car and go, wow. And they don't actually. Or you can go, well, you know, I did this for money, not really happy, time to change my shape, right? Change your mold. Because
Change your mold.
ultimately, you know, if you want to change the world and you've got children or you want to make any kind of change, well, you've got to change yourself first and be the example. If you want everyone to be a star, turn yourself into a star first. And then walk around going, look at my starriness.
Look at
You
my
can do
staring.
it too.
You know, Dr. Emoto, messages from water, vibrations change shape. Imagine that. If you don't like your life, like what changes ice to water to steam, right? It's energy, kinetic energy or heat energy. Basically, it's a vibration, right? When you put water on a stove, you're adding heat so that the molecules are vibrating and it turns to steam. Eventually, there's nothing there. So if you're sitting with your life right now watching this video, or you've come to the second half, which probably by this point we're in our new Tartarian times,
Can't make me lie to my heart. No one tells me where I should start. Freedom first is what I say.